Welcome back to GearWire.com. I'm Owen, and we're taking a look at the TC Electronic RH450, aka the RebelHead, aka Bass 2.0. This bass head was introduced at Winter NAMM 2009, so it's about a year and a half old now. But it's a very cool head that's got a lot of notice since it's been introduced. It's got a couple of really unique features and a pretty great tone, and it packs a lot of power into a compact package thanks to a Class D power amp that's lightweight, runs cool, and delivers a lot of wattage, 450 watts in fact. This amp retails for about $1,000 most places, which is a little steep, but there's really no direct competition when you consider all the features that are unique to this amplifier. Let's take a closer look. So here's the front panel of the RH450. You can see it's kind of cool looking. And the first thing you'll probably notice is this integrated tuner that's always on. Now there is a mute switch on this guy, so if you want to tune silently, you just click that mute switch, and then the LED ring that's around this control kind of becomes your needle for tuning. So all these controls are pretty clearly labeled. A shift key right here accesses the second layer of all these digital encoders. Our first control here is our input gain control. There's only one input, no padded active pickup. This is our active pickup input. This is just a single input for active and passive pickups. We've got our input gain control, and when we hit the shift key, that becomes the spectra comp control. That spectra comp is TC Electronic calls it their string-by-string compression. It's basically a multi-band compression specifically tuned for bass. You really only have control over the threshold, but it is a very nice sounding compressor. Let's just take a quick listen to what that sounds like. So you get a nice little graphical readout of the sort of threshold and the gain compensation. Very smart design feature that makes that compressor very easy to set. Let's hit shift again. Now onto our 3-band EQ. You see we've got bass, low mid, and high mid, and there's also treble. So that's actually a 4-band EQ. Pardon me. Now this is actually a semi-parametric EQ too. If we hit shift, we can actually change the centered frequency that each of these cut and boosts affects. So let's just boost the low mid now. Hit shift and play with that center frequency on the low mid. So you can see you get quite a lot of sort of tonal shaping options. Very powerful, fully parametric EQ section here. Now let's move over to this control. This is tube tone. This is basically where you introduce your sort of emulated tube distortion. Right now you can see it's relatively low. Maybe a little bit of grit there. If we bring it up here, you can hear quite a bit more distortion. If we crank it, let's bring that back down. And if we hit shift, now we have our preset level. So let's move on to the presets. We've got 3 memory locations here. You can set a different total output for each of these sections, and we've still got a master volume control over here. So all of these, the volumes for your 3 presets can stay relative to each other, and you just use this single master control to, I guess, compensate for whatever venue you're in. Very, very smart design, controlled design layout. And to save a preset is very easy. So we've got 3 presets. Right now I've got a preset set that I think sounds a little bit better for fingerstyle on this Rick bass. I wanted to switch to a pick, I think this preset sounds better. And I've got a middle preset here that's got a higher distortion. So now you can hear how having memory presets on a digitally controlled amp like this can give you a wide range of tones that are accessible live in performance. They're made even more easily accessible if you get the optional foot switch. The foot switch basically gives you instant access and hands-free access to these 3 memory positions and to the mute switch, which is a handy thing to have at your feet. Now, the foot switch is optional, but, well, gripe about that later. Setting these memory positions is just as easy as holding down the button and waiting for it to flash. So let's change our tube tone level, for example, and save that to memory 3. And you say they all flash, and now we've saved a preset. Just as easy as that. Let's take a look at the connections in the back of this amp. So you can see on the back here we've got our on-off switch is right next to our power cord input here. We've got a single speaker out. It is both, it's a combi speak-on and 1/4 inch output here. This is, you can attach a 1/4 inch here, like that, da-da-da. The Rebel Stack series of bass cabs, of speaker cabs, which this thing is sitting on top of right now, are all speak-on input, and they come with their own speak-on cables. And if you want to power more than one cabinet, you have to daisy chain them from cabinet to cabinet. Basically, you're wiring them in series. Let's plug this guy back in. Here's your input for the remote optional foot switch. We also have an AES EBU out, which was covered by this little plug. And that gives you direct access to digitally capable recording interfaces. Anything that supports AES EBU. It's a 96 kilohertz output. And is also SPDIF compatible, as you can see right here on the bottom. There's a stereo RCA in for any sort of aux audio source for playing along with backing tracks, rehearsal tracks. We have what's called your insert preamp I/O. This is basically your effects loop, a mono effects loop. We've got a line driver output. It's a transformer balanced line driver output, and you can switch it between pre and post. So the RH450, it does output 450 watts, but because it uses a Class D amplifier, it's exceptionally light, and it's got this little handle built into the side. All of the TC stuff looks really nice, doesn't it? They got some smart designers over there. You can even stand it up on end, should you choose. I don't know why you would, but you can. So it would have been nice if the foot switch was included with the RebelHead at this price, but still a pretty cool sounding amp with a unique memory flexibility that makes it one of the most practical gigging amps around. A design that, well, I'd like to see some other manufacturers cop. Hope that's not too brash, TC. Thanks for watching GearWire.com. This is the TC Electronic RebelHead 450. Oh, and by the way, it's pushing an RS210, which is a 210 cabinet. There's a bunch of different cabinets that were also released with the TC Electronic line. There's a 212 cabinet. There is a 410 cabinet. And you daisy chain all these cabinets together. You can get some pretty cool speaker combinations. Yep, so there you go. You've been watching GearWire.com. I'm Owen. See you later.